Hello and welcome into this week's edition of Your Next Favorite Driver right here on Racing News Now. As always, I'm your host, Garth Allen. Thank you once again for joining me today. If this is your first time catching a Racing News Now video, go down below, hit that subscribe button. It is free to do. The quicker we get to 1,000 subscribers, the quicker YouTube will let us do mobile live streaming, which will vastly improve both the quality and quantity of videos we're able to give you when we get back to the track. Help us through this hashtag Race to 1K. You will not be disappointed by the coverage you see at Daytona and New Smyrna come February. On today's edition of YNFD, we're looking at the first ARCA Series female race winner, that being Gracie Trotter. Had a very impressive season overall in the ARCA Series West this season. Picked up her first win at the Las Vegas Bull Ring back in September and posted an impressive third place finish in the final point standings in ARCA West. Proved this year that she will be a force to be reckoned with in the coming years in ARCA and in NASCAR. We're pleased to be joined by her today. You know what to expect on this show. We'll get to know her racing past, get to know her on more of a personal level, and all kinds of fun stuff. So without further ado, let's head over to that chat with Gracie right now. And we're now joined by driver 4, Bill McAnally Racing in the ARCA Series West, and the first female winner in the ARCA Series, Gracie Trotter, on Your Next Favorite Driver. Gracie, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. So, Gracie, the point of this show is for folks to get to know you on a little bit more of a personal level rather than just the race car driver that they see on the track. So let's talk about that. We're going to start in your racing past here. What got you started in racing? What made you decide this is the career path that you wanted?
Yeah, so I'm a third-generation driver. My dad raced, and so did his dad. My dad used to own a race team, so he had a late model stock and a couple of USAC midgets. In the 2000 range, he stopped that about 2008, and he actually stopped racing when I was born. So I kind of just grew up going to the racetrack every weekend with my dad. I have a little brother, and he just wasn't so interested in it. Usually it's the other way around, where the boy likes to go racing, but I always like going to the racetrack with my dad, so he always took me along with him, and grew up at Concord Speedway, Hickory Motor Speedway, tracks around here that he could take me to. So I loved watching the Bandoleros, legend cars, and the midgets out at Concord, and so that kind of got me into the racing. I was like, man, I want to do this. So my dad didn't want me to do it because he knew how hard it was for him to try to make it in the sport, moving his life from Texas to North Carolina, and he knew how hard it was to make it and how much money it cost, how much money he lost trying to do it. So finally, when I was 8, he let me start racing. So we started racing go-karts on road courses, road tax stuff. So that's actually what he started racing in when he was younger. So we started doing that when I was 8. Did that for about 5 years and started racing Bandoleros. Kind of went into the oval world, kind of like where he moved up to, racing late models and street stock. So started that in 2015, and after a year of Bandoleros, moved up to legend cars, did that for a few years, and I got on with Toyota Racing Development, so they put me in a super late model, and that kind of started off my stock car career.
Now, I feel like I've heard a story at some point about you being a trophy girl at one point. What made you decide to get away from that and actually into the race car?
Yeah, so going with the to the track with my dad so much at Concord, they always had a trophy girl. So one day they asked me to be it. So I was a trophy girl. I actually have a picture in Victory Lane with Harrison Burton. Me and him he was driving a Bandolero and won that night. I think we were about 6 or 7 years old in that picture. So I was like, Dad, I don't want to do this. I want to go racing. So that's kind of how it started.
Well, obviously you made the right choice there. So who was your favorite driver growing up?
Definitely Tony Stewart.
Okay.
I actually have a Tony Stewart pillow of his race car, of his Home Depot car. So I used to sleep with that every night, actually. And my dog ended up tearing it up a little bit, but I'll have to stitch it back together. He just did that probably a couple months ago, but Tony Stewart's definitely been my favorite driver. And I think it just started because the color orange. It's my favorite color. It's the color of my room. And also, he was one of my dad's favorite drivers, too.
Okay. So that didn't change when he got away from an orange car into the 14
No,
car?
no, he always stayed my favorite.
Okay. What's been your favorite track you've raced on so far?
In a legend car, I'd say it would be Tri-County Speedway. And a late model would definitely be Orange County. I like the tracks that you kind of run the outside groove on. It's better. I don't know what it is, but I love running on the high groove at racetracks. And in the ARCA car, I'd say it would be Phoenix.
Okay. Hey, we got that coming up, so that's a good
Yeah,
start.
there you go.
So what's been your, I think I probably know the answer to this, but what's your most memorable moment in your career thus far?
That's a hard question. I remember the day when we were racing legend cars, and my dad told me, if you really want to make it in the sport, I can take you to the front gates of Hickory and we can go race the local shows with his old late model. So he said if I wanted to make it further, I'd have to work for it and make it work myself. And I was actually sitting in driver's ed class, and I get a call from Toyota wanting me to come run a late model out in California. And so just that whole journey kind of has been the most memorable moment. Just having that's kind of what took my career off to where I am today. If it wasn't for that, I'd probably still be racing legend cars or maybe some stuff out at Hickory. But definitely if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here. And that week that I went out there, first time to test a late model with Toyota, was actually Thanksgiving. So me and my dad spent Thanksgiving in San Francisco at one of his old buddies' houses. So that was my first time away from home in Thanksgiving. So definitely that whole week I was out there for sure.
That's quite the story, getting the call from Toyota while you're in driver's ed. I figured it was just going to be something simple there, yeah, when you won at Vegas or something, but that was a good story. I like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So, actually, the next question, and that's probably, the answer to this next question is probably that last question, but is there any kind of a story behind how you got to Bill McAnally Racing?
Yeah, so that was kind of the first part of the story. The next year after that, which was 2017, I actually got invited to do the BMR test at Irwindale Speedway. I ended up getting there, not being able to fit in the car, so I got to watch everyone else test. That was the year Haley Deegan tested, and she raced for Bill the next year for her first time.
Okay.
So I got to watch all them, listen to the radio, and learn. So that day I learned I need to come a week early and get fitted in a seat because I'm 4'11", so it's really hard for me to get fitted in a seat. So I kind of learned that lesson there where we need to plan that out a little bit better for me to get fitted in a race car. So I got to meet Bill then, and I've always wanted to race for him. I've always wanted to move up to, the next level from super lates and late model stocks to go race for Bill. So then we raced for Bond Sus for a couple years. He's actually still with me, crew chiefing my late model stock. So I got a lot of experience with him, learned a lot from him, and he's been a huge part of my development. And then just last year, it was actually around this time, I went to go test with Bill, and we ended up doing really good. And he called me a couple weeks later and wanted me to come race for him. I was like, yeah, of course. So, and it's a coincidence, he put me in the Ineos car, orange car. So orange has always been my color of all my race cars. So I thought that was also pretty cool.
Yeah, I didn't even make that connection when you said orange was your favorite color. That worked out pretty well for you.
Yeah.
So take us back to that first win at the Vegas Bull Ring earlier this year. You told me when we talked after that race that you didn't even realize when you did it that you were the first female ARCA winner. Now that we're much further removed from that race, has it sunk into you how big of an accomplishment that was?
A little bit more now. So just being where I am today, like I was saying, it still hasn't really hit me yet, that part. Just, being able to race, move up to the next level and get even closer to, my goals, racing ARCA, racing for Bill, it's pretty surreal to me still to this day, even though it's been a year since I got a phone call. So getting my first win in the first year, it's a huge accomplishment for me. Like I was saying before, I went in this year thinking, okay, this is going to be my learning year. I'm not going to expect too much out of myself. But we started off the year really strong and kept that streak going and got the win. So my first win in the ARCA stuff, and even getting my first win in the late model just 2 weeks before that, all was really special. So I was on a high for a long time, and going into Roseville and Kern, I was really excited to go back in the ARCA car and have that confidence there.
So I guess more on a personal level, then, how big of a step in your career do you feel that win was?
Yeah, this year it's been kind of a struggling year for me because I feel like I've lost a lot of learning because of losing the practices and
right.
things like that. So every single race this year we've been so close to getting a win, but it's kind of been tearing me down a bit because I know we can do better. So those struggles this year, it's kind of put me down, but then getting that win has really boosted my confidence for the rest of the year and even going into the next year, because I know we'll get those opportunities, and hopefully sponsors will be able to see all that I've been doing to help me move on to the next year and move up.
So let's look forward now to the end of your career. What is the ultimate goal in your racing career? What do you want to say at the end of your career that you did?
Yeah, the end of my career, I definitely want to make it to the Cup Series, and not only just make it there, but win in that series. Not once, not twice, but several times for sure, and eventually get a championship one day in the Cup Series.
Okay. So if you weren't racing, what would you be doing? What do you feel you have the skill set to do if, for whatever reason, racing doesn't work out?
In high school, I really loved soccer. I've always played soccer ever since I was little. So in high school, I had always thought of maybe I could be a professional soccer player. But I got into forensics. So I
Okay.
studied forensics in high school, and I really, really enjoyed it. I loved it. It was my favorite class. Um, so I always thought of maybe studying to be a forensic scientist.
Nice. I didn't
Yeah.
have forensics in high school. How'd you get into a class like that?
It was actually through online school. I stopped
Okay.
going to regular school after 10th grade just because I kept going, having to go to Saturday school because I missed too many days for racing. So I was like, so my dad let me do online school. So I got to study all that through there.
Okay. So if you could pick any one driver in NASCAR history to 1v1, who would it be and why?
Like to have a race against.
Yes.
Probably Kevin Harvick. I
Okay.
feel like I could learn a lot from him.
Okay.
He's really talented, and just his driving style and the way he races, the way he races against other people. Even if I lose, I mean, obviously I might dump him to win, but I think I'd learn a lot from him
Yeah, I
for
could
sure.
see that. I've made the argument for a while that I think if Kevin had been in the equipment that he's in now for his whole career, we'd be talking about him being one of the greatest of all time. Just the numbers
Oh, for
he's
sure.
put up since he's been at Stewart Haas have been incredible.
Yes, for sure.
So, what is one interesting thing about you that nobody knows, or maybe not a lot of people know?
Um, I'm really good at art. I've always enjoyed art, sketching, drawing, even like building clay sculptures.
Okay.
So actually, one of my first drawings that I did in high school was of Tony Stewart's one of his sprint cars. Well, that was one of my first sketches for a semester. So I really enjoyed that. Don't want to brag myself, but I am pretty good.
So, you wouldn't be an artist then if racing didn't work out?
The thing about that is I really don't have a lot of patience. So like my 1 hour classes each day were enough for me because I just can't sit still.
Okay.
But I really enjoyed it. Art and forensics were definitely my favorite, but yeah, definitely art. I like to do that. I even when I get new T-shirts made, if I'm designing a new car for each year, I design that all myself for all my stuff.
Okay. All right, so to end off here, we're going to play a little bit of this or that. You ever played this or that before?
I don't think I have.
Okay, so basically I'm just going to throw two options out at you, kind of rapid fire here. You're going to pick which one you like better. If you want to explain why you picked what you pick, you can, but you don't have to.
Okay.
All right, so we'll start off with the softball here. Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Okay, good choice. Road course or oval?
It depends what track I'm at, but
Okay.
in a go-kart, the road course was so much fun. Probably go-kart has been one of the most fun race cars I've ever been in. So, but for stock car, I definitely pick oval.
Okay. Netflix or YouTube?
Netflix.
Yeah. Instagram or Twitter?
Could I pick Facebook?
Okay, there you go. This, that, or that thing. We'll play that now. Burgers or tacos?
Burgers.
Okay. Horror or comedy movie?
Horror.
Yeah?
Oh yeah, I love my horror movies.
It's the right time of year for that.
I just watched Halloween the other night.
Oh yeah? I don't think I've ever actually seen that.
It's good.
Is
the
it?
new one's, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to watch that. TV shows or movies?
TV shows.
Yeah? I'm the
Yeah.
same way. I can't get into
That's
movies.
longer.
Huh?
Movies, they just end so short. I'm like, I want more. So
Right. No,
TV's,
I'm the
TV
same
shows.
way. Like, I feel like I can get more invested in characters on TV shows. Like, I don't care enough in a 2-hour block to be like, oh, well, this guy died. Oh, well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Summer or winter?
Winter.
Yeah? Really?
Yes. Oh, yeah,
Okay,
I love
now I'm going to ask, why is that?
I don't know. I just like the cold. I like the snow. I like the states like Colorado, Wyoming, Montana. I like the snow, and I just like being cold. And plus, I don't like racing in the summer. I hate
No?
it. It's too hot.
Racing's a
love
summer sport. I mean,
No.
you saying you want to do some ice racing now?
that
Snow-
that sounds a lot of fun.
Snowmobile racing. There we go. You can get into that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Let's see what I have next on here. Gummy worms or gummy bears?
Gummy bears.
Solid. $1 million in your bank account or an IQ of over 145?
I'll go with $1 million.
Yeah?
Yeah.
See, though, if you had an IQ of over 145, you could start a business or something that would make you more than $1 million.
Yeah, that's true. Well, what are you saying? If I get the $1 million, what kind of IQ do I have now?
Well, I don't know. Apparently not one over 145. We'll go with that. We'll say you got an IQ of 144.
Okay.
Aquarium or zoo?
Aquarium.
Okay. Be able to fly or turn invisible?
Fly.
Yeah? Okay. Ferrari or Lamborghini?
I don't know much about cars, but I could look at Ferrari better.
You're a race car driver. You're supposed to know all about cars.
I like my trucks.
Okay. Fair enough. Let's see. Live forever and be poor, or be a millionaire and live to 21?
Live forever and be poor.
Yeah? You'd
Yeah.
rather be poor and just live forever?
Yeah, because you get to see more. I can take my little 1967 motorhome around the country.
Okay, that makes sense. See, I was thinking poor meant like be homeless and live on the street, but I guess that could fall into it. Just ride around in a
like
motorhome.
I could learn to play guitar, stop at every gas station, play my guitar, make some money.
Okay.
That'll give me some gas money and food to go on to the next one.
There you go. You got this all planned out. Is this your retirement plan?
It could be, maybe.
Let's see. Live in 1968 or 2068?
1968,
Yeah?
for sure.
You'd rather live in the past?
Yes,
Okay.
I love the past.
Agreed. The last one. Work at SpaceX or Google?
Probably SpaceX.
Yeah?
I
Why?
used to want to live on the moon when I was a kid. I
Okay.
thought that was possible, like people took trips up there every day.
Nice.
Then I learned that wasn't true.
That's one goal I have before the end of my life, is I want to go to space before I die. That's one thing on my bucket list. So,
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
yeah. Where can people find you online, whether it be social media, website, what have you?
Yeah, so I have a Gracie Trotter 11 for my Twitter and Instagram handles, Gracie Trotter Racing for my Facebook, and my website, gracietrotter.com.
All right, and there's where you can find her and see her on track for the rest of the season. Gracie, thanks for joining us today. Hopefully we gained you a few more fans today from getting to know you on a little more of a personal level.
Yeah, thank you so much. This was fun.
Definitely. And we want to thank Gracie once again for joining us today. Always a pleasure talking to her, and want to wish her luck in 2021 wherever she might land, as obviously doesn't have any plans announced yet for 2021, so we'll be eagerly awaiting to see where she lands for 2021. NASCAR Heat 5 stream coming up tomorrow night instead of Wednesday. If you probably noticed that we didn't have that last night, I do apologize for that. It will be tomorrow night, Friday night, our weekly NASCAR Heat 5 stream as we continue through our career mode there. And that will continue all the way through the off-season as well. YNFD probably taking a break for the time being. You probably won't see a YNFD episode next week. Not sure when it'll come back, but this probably will not be the season finale. Just not 100% sure when the next episode will be. So keep an eye out for that. We'll still have NASCAR Heat 5 streams, occasional news videos here and there, and still got some special streams in the works. Just figuring out exactly when we will be able to do those. So keep an eye out for all of that. Got some exciting stuff here for you coming up in the off season, so don't worry. YNFD's not going away permanently, just probably won't be an episode next week. So still lots of fun stuff coming up for you, though, to keep an eye out for. As always, want to thank our Patreon supporter, Regional Manager William Holmes. Thank you, as always, for your support. It is greatly appreciated, as always. If you'd like to be a patron of RNN, the link is down below in the description, patreon.com/racingnewsnow. Not required by any means, but it's greatly appreciated when you want to support RNN in that way. But that's going to about do it for this episode of Your Next Favorite Driver. Thanks for joining me. I'm Garth Allen for Racing News Now.